Hey everyone, James Lynch here doing a quick reaction video to the news that Alex Volkanovski will be taking on Diego Lopes for his first title defense of 2026. And this is going to be headlining the Sydney card, which is part of UFC 325. If you notice my monotone voice here, it's because I'm not a fan of this fight. I did a video on this earlier. Ariel Helwani reporting this fight's in the works. Now it's official. This fight's going to be taking place. I'm not going to go into the context of this fight. I did that in the other video. It's one of the worst title shots in UFC history because of the simple fact you have two contenders waiting in the wings right now in Movsar Evloev and Lerone Murphy. And as far as I know, and no one's told me otherwise, I don't think either of those guys are injured. So it should either be Murphy or Evloev. One of those guys would have been better than Diego Lopes, especially for the fact that Alex Volkanovski just fought him. He just fought him in April. That was his last fight. And so Volk had to wait this whole time to fight again, only to fight Lopes again. And don't get me wrong, Diego Lopes' last win over Jean Silva, very good, very impressive. But yeah, not a big fan of that. So yeah, let's do a quick tale of the tape between these two. Volkanovski, 37 years old, 5'6" with a 71.5 inch reach. Diego Lopes, 30 years old, so 7-year age gap there. 5'11" with a 72.5 inch reach advantage. So just a 1 inch reach advantage for Lopes, a little bit taller there at 5'11" compared to 5'6", but everyone Volk fights, he's usually the smaller guy as far as the height goes. Let's have a quick look at their first fight. I do think that is important to look at. We're looking at the stats. I mentioned this in the last video, but it's worth going over again. This wasn't a close fight. Volk outlanded him big time, 158 to 259 compared to just 63. Total strikes was 165 to 71. Volk got a takedown in that fight, and you look at the red, that's Volk here. Especially the later rounds, he really took over in this fight. So Volk, certainly won that fight. The thing with Lopes is, and we saw this in the last fight with Jean Silva, he can knock you out at any moment, and he's obviously very dangerous on the ground too. We saw that in the Movsar Evloev fight. On the flip side, Lopes' last fight, let's go have a look against Jean Silva. Total beatdown, should have not been a plus 240 underdog in that fight. Pretty decisive here. Although actually, now that I look at it, the strikes were a little bit closer, but 74 to 43. So Lopes clearly up in that first round. Diego Lopes, he's the one in red here. 43 strikes compared to just 10. Second round, actually Silva was edging him out just by 2 more strikes. But again, Lopes gets the finish in this one. Yeah, Lopes looked like, listen, like I will say this, Lopes is at the top of the division. Like there's no doubt about it. I just don't think we need the rematch right now because like I mentioned in the last video, what if Lopes loses again? Then he's going to have to wait until Volk retires because I don't think they're going to do a third fight. So yeah, I just, like there's not much really to say. Like Volk is Volk. He looked like the old Volk in that fight. I picked Volk in the first fight for the simple fact that I felt that Diego hadn't really shown a ton, and I didn't think Lopes was going to finish him. He might finish him this time, a year off now, because Volk's older. But if we kind of look at who Volk's lost to, especially by stoppage, Toporia's knocking everyone out. I think Topuria, I will go on record saying this, he's got like a once in a generation type, knockout power. Like he's like Conor. Like there's just a couple guys in UFC history that have just like that lethal knockout power, and Topuria is one of them. So I do put stock in him getting knocked out with the damage factor, obviously, and all that. But overall, Volk's not a guy that gets like hit a lot. So yeah, I mean, that obviously that hurt him. And then Islam knocked him out too. But let's be honest, like that was a short notice fight, and Volk kind of walked into that kick, right? Like that was, I don't care who you are. If anyone's kicking you like that and your head's down like Volk's was, you're going to get knocked out like that. If you look at Volk's overall stats though, striking defense is fairly good. And that's part of the reason he won here. 58% striking defense. Like that's, could be higher, but 58% isn't too bad. But again, you always got to worry about Lopes with the fact that, again, he can end this fight at any moment, just like he did in the Jean Silva fight. Saying that though, I think part of the reason he beat Silva was Silva's overly aggressive, and Lopes took advantage of that. Volk's not going to be that way. Volk's very calculated, and that's how he won the first fight. Now, Lopes did hurt Volk in the first fight. Maybe he finishes the job the second time. Could certainly happen, and I'm guessing the UFC's banking on that because they love Lopes. Let's be honest. Lopes is Brazilian. He's Mexican as well, or he speaks Spanish. So he kind of fits both markets that they go to fairly frequently. Yeah, he's Brazilian, but fights out of Mexico. So he's like, he can be a big star for them. This just looks to me like they just want to get Volk out of there. Even though they keep going to, Australia and doing cards there, I think they're looking as this a long-term investment, and they just want to rush Lopes to being champion. That's what it looks like here. But he doesn't deserve it over Lerone Murphy or Evloev, especially Evloev, who beat him. And I know it was short notice, but he still beat him. So that's what makes it look worse here. But, if you go back to like the Ortega fight, wasn't able to finish Ortega. Again, Ortega, a bit more of a defensively sound fighter. These other guys he finished, like Tucker, Sabatini, submitted Tucker and all that. But I mean, these are not. Sabatini was a good win. I'll give him that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he gets the job done. Now, as of right now, doing this breakdown, just again, my early thoughts on this fight, I think I'm still going to go with Volk because I just don't think, I don't think he's chinny. He's got good striking defense overall. His only knockout loss in that division is against a guy who's knocking everyone out in Topuria. I don't know if Lopes finishes the job, and he can finish the job last time, right? And it's not like Volk, it's not like the fight was close, the last one. Like I said, Volk clearly won. So I don't know. I don't see any reason why Volk would decline all of a sudden unless Father Time's caught up with him. So I'm going to stick with my guns. I picked Volk in the first fight. I'll pick him in the second fight here, but again, not going to be naive to the fact that Lopes could just go out there and finish this fight. But yeah, one of the worst title fights in UFC history. Again, let's say Murphy's injured, Evoyev's injured. I get it then. You do this fight they got to get Volk to fight someone. I would understand that. But like I said, as far as I know, neither guy's injured, and one of those guys should be getting this title shot. So that's really the big issue here. But we'll see what the fan response is to this. But I'm already seeing comments on my other video. I think people are kind of like me being like, what the hell are you doing? So, and here's the other quick thing I'll mention, not that I think that this other fighter would win, but why are they not doing Diego Lopes and Yair Rodriguez? What's even going on with Yair Rodriguez? They had all that heat in the press conference. I think it was actually for the Volk fight, and then they never ended up making the fight happen. What is Yair Rodriguez even doing? When was his even last fight? It was, when did he fight? It was, it was Patricio Pitbull, and he won the fight, but he didn't finish it, and that was back in April. Yeah, it was on the same card. Again, you've got other options here. Lopes could be fighting Rodriguez. And again, I think Lopes beats him, and I think Lopes is a level above Rodriguez. But at least do that to keep him busy and get Volk to fight someone else. I don't know. So, yeah, just a weird fight. And, I think the only people happy about this are Diego Lopes fans. But you got to worry here, and this is something I talked about in the last video. What if Lopes loses again? He's going to be in this limbo that Yuri Prochazka's in right now with Pereira being champion. Or Sean O'Malley's in right now with him losing to Merab twice. You're in this sort of limbo. And granted, I don't think Volk's fighting much longer, right? He's going to probably retire here in the next year or two, I would think. But there's no need to do this now. So, yeah, again, pick right now is going to be Volk. I got to dig into the stats a little bit deeper. Lopes could certainly finish him here. But like I said, I think part of the reason he got the win last time is because he fought a guy who was also going for the kill. I don't think Volk needs to finish this fight. He just needs to win. Right? His legacy is already intact. Even if he goes out there and loses this fight, Volk's still going to go down as the best featherweight of all time, or one of the best featherweights of all time. Can't deny that. Credit to Volk for even taking this fight. There's, again, we live in an era where, we've seen certain fighters not take fights and all that different stuff. But yeah, credit to Volk for taking this. I mean, I don't know if he had a choice. I don't know how much leverage he has. He's not John Jones or McGregor or any of these guys, but credit to him for taking this fight. And Volk's the best, man. I love watching this guy fight, and we'll see what happens. But I have a feeling a lot of fans are going to be pulling for Volk because a lot of people feel like this isn't a title shot that Diego Lopes should be having. So, a couple things. What do you guys think of this fight? Where does it rank as one of the worst title fights in UFC history? Is anyone here? Who are you picking? What is your prediction for this fight? Let me know. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.